All right, in these problems, we're looking at, more specifically, whether or not things are functions and whether or not they're linear. So lines are functions, okay, but we have functions that are not lines. So obviously line is a kind of function. All right, so identify any intercepts for each function and determine whether it is linear or nonlinear. So my x-intercept here is 1, 0. You could also, if it says x-intercept, you can also put 1. Okay, my y-intercept is 0, 3, or 3. Is it linear or nonlinear? That one's pretty easy. It's linear. Okay, this one, x-intercepts, I actually have two. I have one at -2, 0, and I have one at 2, 0. And my y-intercept is at 4, so 0, 4. Obviously, this is not a line, so non-linear. Okay, this is quadratic, actually, a parabola. Okay, this is exponential, so not a line. We can tell that right off. Okay, my x-intercept, there are none. Or you could put NA, not applicable. Okay, but my y-intercept is at 3, so 0, 3. Okay, so this one, we're not given a graph, but we need to see if it's linear or nonlinear. So these are all going up by 1, right? All going up by 1. These are all going down by 5. And remember that when both of these things are consistent, okay, then we have a line. So this is linear. And remember, an x-intercept is something that takes on this form. It has a 0 for y, and my y-intercept has a 0 for x. So what do I have up here that matches that? Well, my x-intercept is right here, so that's going to be -1. And my y-intercept is right here, so that's going to be -5. All right. Oops. We have some here that we're going to skip. Okay, evaluate as indicated. This is mostly just to help you know what function form looks like. So if we have f of -3, that means I plug in -3 for x, which means it goes here also. So this is -3 minus 5, which is -8. F of 0 is 0 minus 5, which is -5. And 4 minus 5 is -1. Okay, so here are the answers. I'm not gonna circle them. You guys are watching me do this. Okay, here we go again. So we're gonna plug -3 in for x. So I have -5 times -3 plus 7. This is -15 plus 7. So this is -8. If I plug in a 0, then I get 7. And if I plug in a 4, oops, I made a mistake. Do you see my mistake? -5 times -3 is a positive 15. So this should be 22. Oops. Okay, -5 times 4 plus 7. This is -20 plus 7. So this is -13. Okay, and finally, you know, if you look at this, we can see that we actually can simplify this a little bit before we go on. Okay, so this is going to be -2x. 3 minus 12 is -9. So we're going to use that one. So h of -3 is -2 times -3 minus 9. So this is 6 minus 9. Oops. 6 minus 9 is -3. H of 0 is -2 times 0 minus 9, which is -9. And h of 4 is -2 times 4 minus 9. That's -8 minus 9, which is -17. Okay, I'm just going to check really quick, make sure that I did those right. I have -1, 2, 7, 13. Okay, just because I made that one mistake, I just want to make sure. Okay, I'm going to move it up again. Right here. Okay, now I know these next ones were a little tricky for kids. I'm hoping that it's not too bad when I show you. Okay, so find the value of x so that the function has the given value. So this time we're solving for x like a normal problem. Okay, so this tells me that f of x is 4x and f of x is negative 32. So that means that these two are also equal to each other. So I have 4x equals negative 32. Divide by 4. I have x equals negative 8. Over here, r of x equals 1/3 x plus 2, and rx equals 4. So I have 4 equals 1/3 x plus 2. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, and I get 2 equals 1/3 x. And then when I multiply both sides by 3, I get x equals 6. Okay, and finally, q of x is 2x plus 1, and q of x is 17. So that means these two are equal to each other. So 2x plus 1 equals 17. Subtract 1 from both sides, I get 16. And divide both sides by 2, I get x equals 8. Okay. Find the x and y intercepts of the graph of the linear equation. Okay, so this one, remember that my x and y intercepts, they kind of look like this. My x-intercepts will have a 0 at y. My y-intercepts will have a 0 at x. Okay? So if I plug in x, or if I plug in 0 for 4 right here, that's going to make that one go away. Well, what value of x gives me 8? 2 times what gives me 8? Well, that's going to be 4. And if I plug in 0 for x right here, that's going to make that go away, and 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, well, I'll do that in more detail in a minute. My x-intercept, again, means I'm going to have a 0 at y, and my y-intercept, I'm going to have a 0 at x. So if I plug in 0 for y right here, and I cover that up, then I end up with 2x equals negative 21. I divide that by 2, and I get negative 21 halves. And if I plug in 0 for x, I have negative 7y equals negative 21. Y is going to equal 3. So those are my intercepts for that one. Okay, so x-intercept here, again, I plug in 0 for y. My y-intercept, I plug in 0 for x. So when y is 0, I have negative x equals 13. So x equals negative 13. Okay, and when x is 0, I have 0 plus 3y equals 13. Divide both sides by 3, and I get 13 thirds. Okay, so that is how you do those, and I will continue in the next video.